Hello everyone and welcome to this presentation video of the Cameleon software. We're going to detail the features and how to use them. So first, what you have to do to access the Cameleon is to connect to this URL, which is the test server URL. You will land on this page. If you already have an account, you can already log in using this form. But for the purpose of this video, I will register and create a new account. My account has been created, so now I will be able to log in and land on this page, which is the dashboard. So to access the Cameleon software, I just click on this link and access the Cameleon. When landing on this page, the first thing you have to do is to choose the car you want to repair. You can do so by clicking this button, and there are three modes. A quick search with some keywords, search by make, or search by year. So I'm going to present each mode, starting by quick search. Let's say I want to repair the Audi Q4 e-tron. I can simply search for Q4. And we can see there are lots of cars. So I will just filter by make, which is Audi. And I found my car. So I can just click on it, and the car is chosen, as you can see. I can also retrieve the car with the search by make. So the make is Audi. And I will retrieve the car, which is the Q4. Where is it? Here. And then I have to choose the datasheet version. There is only one datasheet. I choose it, click done, and this is the same car, so nothing has changed, but it was a different means to retrieve the car. The last method to retrieve the car is to search by year. This is a recent car, so I can just type 2021, choose the make, which is already selected because I searched by make just earlier. Model is Q4 e-tron, and this is the same datasheet. The second thing you have to do is to choose the mode, either diag, with mechanic, without mechanic, or a mix of both. For the purpose of this video, I will choose without mechanic. The software will automatically calculate a configuration by default with 6 gigs. What I can do is change the length of the bench, and it changed, or the crossmembers type. In the bottom left corner, we can see that the car offsets have been automatically calculated by the software. But of course, we can change these offsets. Let's say I want a length offset of 50. I click OK, and we can see that the jigs are moving forward. I can also change the height offset. And the jig setup will change.
So to navigate the 3D interface, you can use the left mouse button to click and drag around to pan the camera around the scene. You can use the right click and drag to rotate around the scene. And you can also use the scroll wheel to zoom, for example, on some jig you want to inspect more closely. At the bottom of the screen here we have the flat views available, so we can see the jigs from top, left, right, front and back views. Just like perspective view, we can move around the scene with the left click. We can zoom in, zoom out using the scroll wheel. And you may notice the markings on the side have these darker numbers, which are the numbers used by the jigs displayed on the screen. So for example here, hole number 3 have jig number 10 and number 11 on the hole. To show and hide jigs, you can use this menu, the point menus. And in red you have the jig displayed in the 3D view. To hide or show points one by one, you can left click on them, like for example this point number 23, I left click on this and I have a new jig shown in the 3D view. If I want to hide it, I can left click on it, and now it's not shown anymore. We can also use this tree menu here to toggle a bunch of jigs at once. So for example, I can show all the angle jigs available in this configuration. So now you have a bunch more points. Same for the side jigs or upper body jigs. We have all side jigs available for this configuration displayed. We also have the same one for the vertical points. So it's going first to hide vertical points because we had some vertical points available. And if I click again, it's going to show every vertical points available. Now we see all the vertical points available. You may notice that not every point in the datasheet is shown because there could be some conflicts. So I'm going to toggle again angle jigs. So now we should have every point possible, but for example this point number 23 is not displayed because it can be conflicting with some other jig around. So first, if I try to activate it, it tells me cannot hide the jigs because no position found. Basically another jig is in the way. So maybe if I remove jig number 83, I will have enough space to put jig number 23. So right click to disable this jig, left click to enable this one, and now it's okay. I have my jig number 23 here appearing. So if you cannot add one jig, try removing jigs around and you should be able to add it.
Jigs panel. To open the jigs panel, just click on a jig. The goal of the jigs panel is to show the user how to assemble a jig. Sometimes a jig can be difficult to assemble or to position on the bench because of the mechanical parts of the car. So this panel also offers features to reposition a jig or change the way it is assembled in order to let the user decide what works best for their case. The first field on the jigs panel is the point number as well as the point name. There are 3 buttons. The first one is used to hide the jig. As you can see, it removes the jig from the bench. We can add it again from this menu. The second button is apply to symmetrical jig. The software will then find the symmetrical point and make the same jig as you already got. The last button is photo. It's simply used to show the photo of the point on the car. The next field is the mode. You can actually change the mode for a single point. So this is diag mode with mechanics and without mechanics. The next field is a height adapter. It shows us that we need the AD05 part. These buttons are used to use a longer adapter. So if I click on this arrow, my software will try to use a longer adapter. And here, an even longer one. So you can adjust depending on what you need. The next part is a plate UP001. But we can change with this button to use a UP002, 3, or 4. Next is a piston. We need a P100 piston using the C hole. And the tower. We are currently using a MZ080 with a second hole. If we want to use a bigger one, we just click on this arrow and we get a bigger tower. Here, a MZ140 using the first hole. The next field is a sliding block. So is a sliding base used for the jigs, for the Cameleon. So here we see we need to use 56mm measurement to adjust the length on the yellow part and 39mm to adjust the width on the green part. We can use the arrow buttons here in order to slide the base to get the best position for us. So with the left arrow, the jigs go on the left, on the right, inward on the bench, or outwards. And here we learn about the position of the jig. So as you can see, it is position 14 on the length on this cross member, and on position -7 on the width. But we can decide to change that by moving around with these arrows. If we cannot find the position, an error pop-up will pop. That's it for vertical jigs. There are some other kind of jigs, like angle and side jigs. Angle jigs. There are some different fields for the angle jigs that I'm going to show you now. So there is some different kind of angle jigs. This angle jig is using an X60 part, type A, and the angle for this part is 70mm. It's using a type A body with angle -39mm. There are some buttons here which are used to reverse the position of the angle, as you can see, or to change the type. So here type B, type A. And here we have the same information as before. You notice that we are currently using a TV402 plate, so it's showcased here. Another angle jig is the Cube 60 with INC 90 part. So we have here the information, and this one is completely flat with an angle of 0mm. Here we are using a special piston called PCAM60, which can be adjusted, and here you can read the adjust value, 59mm. This is an horizontal jig. It's using a FB1 plate with an offset setting on this part of 23 millimeters. On this part, you can actually choose a different angle. So if you need to bend slightly to reach a point, it's possible. And you can also change the body type if you're missing some part. Then the double jig. This jig is made to reach 2 points at the same time. It's using 2 different offset settings for each part, here 54 and 62 millimeters. And you have here the information about the angle, which is 6.9 millimeter here. It's using a B body with an angle of 0 millimeters. And we can change to a type A with this button. Side jigs or upper body jigs can be shown using the points menu and clicking on Show Upper Body Jigs. There are 2 kinds of side jigs. One that is used to reach 2 different points, and one that is just used to reach 1 point on the back of the car. Let's start by the first one. There is a lot of different things that you have to set up on the side jigs. So each part is got a name. So SD20 is the small one. There is 2 SF150 sliders. The top one must be set to 7 millimeters and the bottom one to 0. Here, the horizontal angle, this one, is 0 millimeter, and the vertical is only 0.8, so 1 millimeter. The vertical arm is set to 284 millimeters, and this one is set at 360 millimeters. The EF arm is the horizontal one over there, which is set at 48.9 millimeter. Here you have information about which tower and which hole you have to use on the piston for the scaffolding for the side jigs. And this is some information about where over the bench are you and where are you on the side jigs cross member. So this is position -9 on the side jig cross member, and it's about over the 12th position on the bench. For this kind of side jig, we got 3 sliders and 2 angles. The angles are here 7 and 2 millimeters. For this one, which is the vertical one, and this one, which is the horizontal one. The CD arm is the first one. Here is set at 178 millimeter. The EF arm is a horizontal one once again. And this one, the last arm, is the SF200. And we got again the information about the tower and hole we use on the piston, as well as the position on the side cross member, and about where position we are above the bench, so about 29. That's it for the side jigs panel.
After setting up a configuration that I like, I can share it. I can create a PDF of the drawing by clicking this button. After a few seconds, I will be able to download the drawing. Which looks like this. So there is a header with the name of the car, the mode I used, the offsets. Then there are boxes with the configuration of the jigs I used. This is the direction of the towers. This is the number of the points. And there is also the quantities of each equipment I need. So of course there is a little bug here, which will be fixed. But all the equipment and quantities we need are in this table. What I can also do is create a report of the configuration I made. So I click the report button. I can choose the survey type, so either diagnostic, pre-repair, post-repair, or use a custom description. I can enter some side notes. Let's say, I don't know, and then I have to enter a lot of details concerning the job, the insurance, the vehicle itself, the customer, which I already input beforehand to gain some time. So the vehicle information, for the most part, has been automatically added from the car we chose. So this is the make, this is the model, this is the datasheet version, and the year. I click next. This is the customer information with French address. And I arrive on this screen. For the moment, only the vertical jigs are supported on the report. Side jigs and angle jigs will be added later. So I can enter information about the points and the measurement we made. For example, if I click on point number 40 at this position, I can enter the value I measured. Let's say 10 millimeters, and in Y, minus 15. I can upload a photo of the car, of the point. So this is just a demo. I will choose maybe this photo. It doesn't really matter. I will try to input some other measurement for the point number 44. Okay, 44. Maybe it's a lot, I don't know. And 13. I can now download the report. So after a few seconds, I will be able to save the report generated. And we arrived on the screen. So the report looks like this. The body shop details is empty right now because it's part of the subscriptions part, which we are developing right now. But normally the body shop details come directly from the database. You don't have to input it yourself. So we can see all the information we previously entered. And the important part is on page 2. As you can see, for this Q4 e-tron, we don't have sketch data. So the sketches we used are default sketches. And for this reason, the points here, as you can see, are not good. And the other points are not precise. So we have a lot of points, maybe too many. And we can see the data we entered previously. are here, and if I zoom in, there are also some arrows to show how the points have been affected. So these are the measurements we made. And if you remember, we also added a photo of point number 4. This photo is on page 3. So the last feature I wanted to present is the ability to save and load configuration. For example, I made this particular Cameleon configuration today. I finished my workday and I want to get back to it tomorrow. If I do nothing, and for example I reload the page, I will lose it, as if I had just chosen the car and the software automatically calculates a default configuration. What I can do is save a configuration, so hopefully I did it earlier, and I can retrieve my configuration by clicking load, choosing the configuration I want, load, and here it is. After landing on the page, if the software finds a configuration for this particular car, for this mode, with the same bench, it will automatically retrieve the configuration if it's saved. If there is no configuration for this particular car, mode and bench, it will automatically calculate a default setup like we saw earlier. We also added an unlocked and locked button to allow CELETTE employees to create default configuration for users. We will explain how it works in another video. This video is coming to an end. I would like to thank you all for your attention and to ask you to please test the software by accessing this URL. This video is coming to an end. I would like to thank you all for your attention and to ask you to please test the software by accessing this URL. And to please send your feedback by email to the addresses that are displayed on your screen right now with the subject Test Cameleon. Please provide the car information, the screenshots, and as many details as you can, so we'll be able to reproduce and fix the bugs and unexpected behaviors you could find. Thank you.